Greetings, campers, and welcome to the latest in our Can Tell Us webinar series, Movement for Senior Artists. I'm Scott Walker, Executive Director of the Canadian Artists Network, and once again, it is my very great pleasure to welcome artists from right across Canada to today's session. And would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge that we live, work, travel, and create on the traditional territories of Indigenous peoples who have cared for this land, now called Canada, since time immemorial. We acknowledge this as part of our covenant with all Indigenous nations to share, respect, and protect the land in the spirit of peace and friendship, and to honor the future generations of all our nations. So we're doing something just a little bit different today for a webinar. We're going to move. Maybe not as much as the introductory music suggested, but we are going to do some moving. How do you do that while sitting in front of a computer? I'm sure you're asking yourself. Well, our presenter will explain, and let us introduce her right now. She's a dancer, educator, author, one of Cannes' first mentors, a longtime member of the Cannes Community of Artists, most recent winner of the Robert Johnson Visionary Artist Award, and we are so pleased to have her with us. Welcome, Carol Anderson.
Thank you. Thanks, Scott. And welcome to you all. And welcome. I'm delighted to see you here, be with you here in the Movement for Senior Artists session. As we know and hear about, movement as we grow older is absolutely essential to a health line, to a healthy lifespan, to a health span, as it's sometimes called. And it's important for us as we move along our timeline to continue to work for flexibility and mobility and to continue to work on strength and balance. These things become essential to us to live well and to move well. The movement form that I practice and teach is called gyrokinesis, and that's what we're going to be practicing in this session. Gyro meaning circular, and kinesis meaning motion. This is a practice. In a way, it's like ballet is a practice, or yoga is a practice, or Tai Chi is a practice. It's a whole system, and within which there is always great potential for investigation and discovery and deepening, whether you're a new mover or someone with a rich and varied and long background as a mover. Gyrokinesis has benefit for us in an ongoing and rich and beautiful and powerful way. I like it because I am a dancer and because it's very dance-like. It moves us in pathways, energy pathways and patterns of circles and spirals and arcs. And it coaxes the body into motion in a very enjoyable way. It also, I like it as a form of movement because it's very holistic. It integrates breath and motion and vision and intention. So it draws us toward mindfulness in movement in the very nature of the practice, which is also healthful for us as older movers, understanding why we're doing something. I just would like to say that gyrokinesis as a practice is the one that I do. I encourage you to find a movement practice that you enjoy. A, because then you'll do it, and B, because we get more benefit when we are fully engaged in enjoying motion. We really do benefit more by a practice. We will do a class completely seated today, given our context. If you have a flat-bottomed chair or stool with no arms or a piano bench, that's perfect. You want it to not be too pushy on the top. Sock feet or bare feet or running shoes are good. We will do the class in 3 parts. The first part is called Awakening the Senses. I'll say more about that in a moment. The second part is seated spinal motion, which articulate the spine in its possible range of motion. And the third part is some leg work. Now, throughout, if there's anything that does not feel good to you or right to you in the body, You are the judge of your own movement experience. So move according to what feels right to you. If something does not feel good to you, scale it back, make it smaller, continue to move, but maybe continue with something that we've just been doing. Don't push it. To say that, look after yourself in motion. Yeah. We have 8 senses, actually. We think of them as taste, touch, smell, sight, and hearing. But actually, our 8 senses include our sense of proprioception, our sense of where our body is in space, our sense of interoception, our inner sense of communication, our tummy grumbles and the brain says, oh, you're hungry, and our vestibular system, which is the eyes and ears working together to sustain and support good balance. So gyro actually activates all of this. It's a very holistic practice. It gives us a sense of the whole body, the volume of the body, the back, side, and front of the body in space. It always uses a nice kind of breathiness, which we'll talk about after we've done the initial Awakening the Senses series. So, here we go. We will start with Awakening the Senses. There's no music in this practice, but I will talk. I will talk and talk us through it. So we sit comfortably toward the front of whatever you're sitting on, so you can feel your sitting bones, hands together, shoulders drop down. And we start by simply tapping the tips of the hands together. A nice light tap. Feeling the soft tissue at the very tips of the fingers. And in this simple movement, this brings us into connection and engagement actually with all the systems of the body. The sense of touch and response, those soft fingertips. Also engaged is the structure of the body, the bones and muscles and ligaments and tendons, the nervous system, the soft tissue, the fascia, connective tissue, the liquid systems of the body, the blood and lymphatic systems, and the nervous system, all engaged in this simple symmetrical tapping. Now we'll place the palms of the hands together, the fingertips at the heel of one hand, and just gently changing, drawing the fingertips, still attuning yourself to that sense of touch and response, the hollow of the palm, the ridges of the fingers, feeling the contour of the hand. Nice light touch there. And then we'll move, so we're moving along the inner line of the fingers, and the other way, changing which index finger is on top. And then we'll move to rub along the thumb line, that place we all use too much when we're computing, and into the lower part of the forearm, the inner line, as gyrokinesis calls it, the inner line of the arm, getting a little motion through that joint. And on the other side, through the thumb joint, and the inner line of the arm, and then along the pinky finger line and the outer line of the arm that connects us while we're in motion to the back body and the other side, through the pinky finger line, connecting to the back body. Now we bring the palms together and we're going to knead the hands together like you're working with bread dough or clay, really kneading the hands together, feeling the tissue, feeling the bones softening, creating a beautiful malleability in the tissue, nice soft bones right into the marrow of the hands, feeling some warmth between the palms, working the hands. And now I'll thread the fingertips, finger ends right together and creating a small figure 8. Begin to articulate the wrists, a little bit into the elbows, and a small articulation that reaches the shoulders. gliding action in the shoulders, creating a little figure 8 in front of the body. Bringing the hands back to center and rubbing the palms together more briskly now, generating some heat and electricity between the palms. And we'll release the palms, feel that buzz of energy. We'll take the heels of the hands to the bottom of the eye sockets. Lean the weight of the head forward, close your eyes, and let that remaining electricity from the palms sift through the eyelids into your eyes. And then we'll release that small compression into the area around the eyes. And with 2 fingers, rubbing outward at the outer corner of the eye, just outside the eye socket. And then in toward the bridge of the nose, opening up the tear ducts and the little muscles around the inner part of the eye. And then we'll rub up and down underneath the eyebrows. Also at the same time, smoothing out toward the temples. And then brushing the hands across the forehead, erasing the frown lines. Nice light touch on the forehead. Now with 2 fingers, we're going to circle very gently on the temples, circling toward the ears. And then we're going to blink the eyes, open our mouths, and tap the top of the head. From the hairline up to the top of the head, changing up the usual way that you use your eyes, blinking. And then from the base of the skull, tapping, nice light tap, waking up the brain, waking up the scalp. And then we'll tap behind the eyes, blinking your eyes, stimulating the optic nerves, and then tapping over the ears. You can open your mouth here and your eyes. And now we're going to cup the hands and press in over the ear, into the inner chamber of the ears. And then release that small compression. You're going to wiggle your fingers slightly. And looking forward, you're also going to attune yourself to seeing those wiggling fingers as the arms extend, opening your peripheral vision awareness. And again, pressing inward, hearing your inner ocean. And then opening wide, wiggling your fingers, opening your peripheral vision, your sense of where you are in space, and your hearing. And we'll do this 2 more times, pressing inward. And release that small compression, expanding your vision, expanding your reach, expanding your hearing. And 1 more time, pressing inward, hearing that inner ocean. And then expanding, attuning yourself to your peripheral vision, your sense of where you are in space, your vision, your hearing. And then we'll bring the hands in. And we're going to tap a little semicircle underneath the collarbones, sending a vibration through the sides of the hands, in toward the upper part of the ribs and the lungs, little semicircle passing underneath the hollow of the throat. And again, sending a vibration, drumming across the chest, letting the breath sift out. And now looking up a little bit, drumming onto the sternum, letting the breath sift out, softening the sternum under the sides of the hands. And now, just below the base of the sternum, we're going to tap around in a circle. Nice light tap into the soft front of the body, all the way down to the level of the belly button. And then all the way down, all around the soft front of the body. Nice light tap. Now, at the sides of the hands, I'm tucking my thumbs in We're going to bend forward and give ourselves a nice karate chop up and down the big muscles along the spine. Up as far as you can reach, down to the base of the ribs, down to the top of the pelvis, down to the sacroiliac, and then with a nice round stroke, sending a vibration into the back of the hip joint. And then we'll take the side of the hand down the side of the thigh, from the top of the thigh to the knee, and again. And now we're going to use the heels of the hands and down the fronts of the thighs, as if you're brushing the muscle right off the bone. Brushing, letting the heels of the hands sink right through the muscle, through that soft tissue. One more time, and tap, brush. And then along the inner line of the leg, waking up the adductors, that's the knee. Now we'll use the fists and just drumming onto the thighs, feeling this vibration right through the soles of the feet. And we will tap in a circle around the knee joint. And the other way. And then we're going to tap down the outside of the calf to the ankle bones. And up the inner side of the calf, just below the knee. And then we're going to circle the hands around the head. And both hands, and then we'll shake off anything that you don't need. Nice, easy shaking. Let's take a moment to just sit, feel the soles of the feet on the floor, the sitting bones, the inner line between the sitting bones and the length of the spine. Let's take a moment to draw our awareness, turning the palms up to the downward force of gravity and turning the palms down. And attuning ourselves to the upward thrust of gravity. Once again, feeling the downward force of gravity and the upward thrust of gravity. And as vertical beings, we negotiate the dance of gravity throughout our lives. Gyro uses various kinds of breathing. Just before we dive into more movement, we'll practice a few of these breaths. One is a simple sniff breath. In through the nose. Always in the breathing, even if there's a stress on one breath, there's always I don't always say breathe in, breathe out, but we do. But we don't just keep breathing in. And in that natural rhythm of breath of in and out is a pulsation, which is at the foundation of gyro, and partly why it has benefit. That pulsation is really good for our joints and the sense of flow through the body, that connectivity through the body. So we have a sniff breath. We have a couple of kinds of exhalation. One is a ha, ha, more of a smiling ha breath. And the other is a H-O-H, ho breath. We don't actually say ho, ho, but we shape that inside the mouth, and it has us that nice roundness. Another kind of breath that we use is really up the back of the nasal passages, ocean breath. I call it Darth Vader breath. Gyrokinesis calls it snoring breath. Whatever might work for you, let's just practice that a few times. Ocean breath, drawing in, making some noise. One more time. And it's also a very calming breath. If you're feeling anxious, ocean breath can really calm us down. Good. Okay, we're going to let our arms gently swing, finding a pendulum swing, easy gliding action in the shoulders. You're not looking for range of motion, you're just looking for that easy, weighted swing of the arms, feeling the weight begin to move down, the sense of the weight begin to move down through the bones of the arms, the upper arms, the elbow joints, the forearms, down through the bones of the wrists and hands and fingers, and feeling the sense of the weight begin to cool right down through the fingertips and fingernails, that nice heaviness in the hands, and gradually let that pendulum swing subside, moving toward a resting state. Okay, we're going to keep that sense of weight in the hands and fingers. We're going to exhale and let the shoulders move up toward the ears. And the spine, it's like the spine kind of disappears. I'll just do this once. And then we sit up. Up into verticality, into that sense of moving in gravity. One thing that can really help us as we start to sit up is imagining that we have a kangaroo tail off the tailbone, as if the tailbone continues to go down like a kangaroo's tail. Big, long, really supportive behind us. And the inner line between the sitting bones. So the sitting bones and kangaroo tail move down as the rest of the spine moves up. Okay, so we will do a few of these, and then we'll bring the fingertips together to open the horizontal axis of the body. So exhaling, disappearing the spine, bringing the shoulders right up by the ears, and inhale, find that kangaroo's tail. Exhaling, and inhaling, exhaling, and inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, moving down through the tailbone, through the kangaroo tail. One more exhalation, and inhaling. Next one, bring the fingertips together, exhaling. Now we keep that verticality and open the horizontal axis of the body. Inhaling to open wide. I'm not really moving my arms, I'm opening the space between the shoulder blades. Opening the shoulder blades wide. Couple more times here. Getting that sense, putting your sense, your mind's eye to the shoulder blades, opening them wide. And opening wide. And now we bring the fingertips together, and we're going to brush up and down as if you're painting beams of energy, of light, and around your world. Brushing up and down through the tailbone, up through the top of the head. And now opening also the horizontal axis of the body. Feeling that ebb and flow of the breath. Inhale and exhale. Again, brushing up and down. Inhale and exhale. Brush up and down and right through the fingertips. And exhale. And opening wide. And opening wide. We'll do this one more time. Really go for that sense of rushing energy, like streams of light up and down through the spine, through the north and south of you. And opening the vertical, the east and west of you. And calming down. Good. Let's spin the pinky fingers forward, bringing that outer line of the arm forward, bringing the arms up so they're right above the head, and then letting the energy trickle down through the top of the head, between the eyes and ears, through the throat, through the heart center, through the solar plexus and sacrum, back down to the sitting bones, and right through the heels. Good. All right, we're going to place one hand on just over the belly button and the other hand behind the head. You want to keep the conduit, that clear channel through the bones of the neck up into the brainstem. Keep that communication open through the spine. So we're going to keep all of those energy points, top of the head, eyes, throat, heart, solar plexus, sacrum, sitting bones, all in a line. And we're going to lean back, all keeping the spine like a stem of bamboo or a broomstick, leaning back, keeping that back of the neck long and leaning forward. And we'll use the image that the pelvis is like the hull of a ship and the spine is like the mast. And we lean back, we look at the sky, the eyes come to the horizon, into the waves, up to the horizon, looking into the sky, to the horizon, into the waves, to the horizon, and one more time, looking up into the sky, integrating the vision to the horizon and into the waves, and coming up. Okay, we're going to keep this integrity, this lineup of energy centers through the spine. Put the hands on the solar plexus, and we're just going to tip from side to side without moving the spine, without lifting the hip. It's just really shifting the weight from side to side, but keeping that straightness through the spine. Good. There we go. Great. All right, bringing the hands down. We're going to create a seated figure 8. This is my seated figure 8. So we're going to go around one way through the narrow neck of the figure 8, which comes straight through the pelvis, and around the other way. So we're around the sitting bone, the tip of the sitting bone one way, and then the other way. As we're moving, I am always going to go to my right first. I know that sometimes can be different or a bit confusing on Zoom. So go whichever way works well for you. I'm going to go forward and to the right first, and we exhale as we go forward and inhale as we come around the back and through the middle. Up through the narrow neck of the figure 8, keeping the back of the neck long. Circling right around the tip of the sitting bone. Feeling that inner line between the sitting bones. Let's draw our awareness up a little higher to the level of the belly button as we continue to circle. Up a little higher to the level of the solar plexus, keeping all those energy points in line. Up to the level of the heart, and behind that, that space between the shoulder blades. Up to the level of the throat, and then up through the bones of the neck, up through that conduit into the brain, between the eyes and ears, and then right through the top of the head, top of the spine. And let's pause a moment, just sitting there. In whichever direction you were going, we're going to start the opposite way and think of unspooling down from the top of the spine and down to the base of the tailbone. Top of the head, between the eyes and ears, through the level of the throat, bones of the back of the neck, through the heart, and behind that, between the shoulder blades, through the solar plexus area, down to the base of the ribs, top of the pelvis, the sacrum, And then one final one right around the base of the sitting bones and the whole spine. Pause a moment. Again, we're going to spin the back body by spiraling those pinky fingers, gathering up and letting the energy trickle down through the top of the head, between the eyes and ears, through the throat, heart, solar plexus, and sacrum, and back down to the sitting bones. Good. We're going to place the hands just on the inner line of the hip bones and squeeze inward as if you have a big thirsty sponge right in the sacrum area. Gyrokinesis calls this the seed center. It's the creative center of the body. And now we're going to create figure eights to the front and to the back. We exhale and inhale, exhale and inhales. And again, the narrow neck of this figure eight, the wasp waist part of it, goes through right through the core of us. So we'll do that first of all with our hands to illustrate to ourselves this circular pathway. We go up and over, down, up and over to the back, down, up and over to the front. And each of those spheres of movement has an exhale and inhale. So we inhale as we come up, starting to the back, we go. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Up and over. And we'll pause just a moment. We're going to do that a little bit faster. This is called biological pump. It primes the pumps of the body, the pelvic floor, the breathing diaphragm, the heart. We're going to bring the hands closer to the body, go a little faster. And the hands just make a smaller gesture to create that same up and over, down, up and over, forward, up and over. We'll pause to the back. Now we're going to move just from the tip of the tailbone to the belly button, kind of that diagonal that my shirt is making, to open up the lower part of the spine. The rest of the spine just goes to the right, and we're creating a small forward wave. From the very tip of the tailbone up to the level of the belly button. Inhaling as you go forward, exhaling to come back. Integrating the breath with the flow of the movement. Now we're just going to amplify this movement a little bit as if you're combing the muscles of the thighs up into the torso. And we're going to also pull back with the heels toward the body. What this does is it creates a tremendous energy across the back body. So we go up through the front body, we have all this energy in the back body, and we create a beautiful arch up and forward. You don't want to dump our ribs out of the body, we want to keep them integrated into the body. So we have this nice long arc forward, pulling the heels back and the thighs into the body. And then use the hands to press along the outer side of the thigh and go up and back, not down and back, but up and back, pressing down through the heels, pressing along the other thighs to arch and curl. Here we go. Inhaling to arch, pulling heels back, comb the thighs back, press along, press down through the heels. And draw in through the thighs and the heels, and exhale, press down to go up and back, down through the heels. And exhale, press down through the heels to balance going up and back. And exhale, and draw in and up. And Exhale, beautiful long arch, inhaling. And sitting up. Good. Let's place the fingertips together. Now there's a way of just locking, lacing the fingers together. You just create a little resistance so they don't just come apart. There's an energy there, and this allows us to really feel the breadth across the back. And we're going to use that in a moment in our next series of movements, which is kayaking. Kayaking takes us into, if you've ever paddled a kayak, you know you have that motion that goes across the body. And now our figure eights are going diagonally across the body as we use this kayaking motion. We shift to one hip without really lifting it. We do shift the weight, and then we shift onto the other one. So we just take the hands out of it for a moment. And if we just amplify that just a little bit, we feel how it takes us toward a side arc and then across the body. Side arc and then across the body. So we get that beautiful kayaking. This is also called corkscrew sometimes. You get that spiral action across the center line of the body. So we'll do 3 sets, one with the hands here, one with the hands at those convenient bumps that stick up on the ends of your collarbones, feeling that arch, more side arc, more right up through off the tip of the elbow, drawing our attention there. And then the third one we'll pause, sending our energy out through the elbows, and then putting the pinky fingers right underneath the base of the skull to create a little tractioning upward, creating space as much length as we can through the spine. And we do a series of 8 kayaks, and then 8 here. Okay, so enjoy this feeling of being in a nice motion across the center line of the body. First of all, putting those warm hands onto the sternum and moving back. We have quite a lot of flexibility through this part of the spine. You want to feel the volume of the back body. And here we go. And across. Find that side arch. Curl across the center. And exhale. And exhale. And exhale. Exhale. Next series, a little more attention to that side arch. Moving right up off the point of the elbow. Enjoying that feeling of scooping up through space. Sitting up, opening wide. Pinky fingers under the base of the skull. And one more set of 8. Kayaking, crossing the center line, finding that side action curl. Sitting up, let's press the palms right up to the ceiling. And then release the hands so the palms face one another. And let the arms float down, feeling a sense of inner elevation inside the body. Good. Okay, once again, we come to opening, finding that width, taking the pinky fingers underneath the base of the skull. Then we're going to fold the back body, moving up and back. Fold the back body around the front. And then we move forward from the base of the spine, opening that space between the shoulder blades. Small diagonal, we move along the line of the thigh. We move forward, moving the shoulder blades toward the ribs and then open. And forward and up. Open and forward and up and open. So we'll just do that 2 times through the second one, a little quicker, a little more fluid. Exhaling, folding the back body around the front. And inhaling. Exhaling, small diagonal along the line of the thigh. And moving forward and up and open. And forward and up and open. And open. A little quicker, nice and fluid. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. And inhaling. Now you can either do this next thing here with the hands on the sternum or here. We're going to tip up and over, 2 sides of the ribs stay long, and we're going to make a little half circle with the head with 4 breaths. I'll just show this one time. So we go exhale, 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 and then we go the other way. So 4 times on 4 breaths, exhaling, exhale, 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 up and over, exhale, and the other way, exhale, 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 2 long sides of the body, exhale, 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 and last set, circling, circle, circle up and over, and we'll press the palms up to the ceiling again, and then release the hands, pressing wide, opening the space between the fingers, and turning the palms down, and bringing the hands down. Good. Okay, we're going to do a series of gestures that have this arching and curling. That's always at the basis. And we do other gestures with the top of the body. The first one, hold out your hands as if you have 2 handfuls of heavy, wet sand. We're going to spiral around the elbows and hands and reach down into that curl, moving up and back. And now we spiral the back body by connecting through the pinky finger line and moving up. You're creating a figure 8 on each side of the body with this movement. Okay, so we do 8 of each of these movements. Second one, we reach down the sides of the body and then scoop under that and press open, really pressing open, right to the edge of your sphere of movement. So you've got a beautiful stretch across the body. The next one, it's called eagle arms, and we lift the pinky fingers, so it's got a circular feeling here. It's not sideways, it's really, see your hands out just out of the corners of your eyes here. Eagle arms, and then we do big eagle arms. Inner line of the arms comes together, the shoulders are down, and then the arms go up to a diagonal behind you. Then we do cross the body like you're a big bird looking down into the ocean along your wing, sighting along that lower arm. And then as if we're swimming, you can do this at a lower height, or you can go up a little higher, right, bursting up through the hands if that's the you. Okay, and then the last one is called Laughing Buddha. We fold the forearms together, and then we close the circle, looking at that space between the fingertips. Okay, so we'll do 8 of each of those. Creeping up, nice heavy hands, and we reach down. Back body, beautiful figure 8 on each side of the body. We're revisiting that sense of disappearing and reappearing. Inhaling, reaching down. Opening the back body. Now we change, we reach down the side and scoop up, pressing open the hands. Nice bright breath in the body from that seed center. Pressing open through the hands. Eagle arms. As if you're doing a huge yawn. Reaching through the arms. Turning the pinky fingers over. Yawning through the arms. Big eagle arms, diagonally down and forward. Diagonal up behind you, lifting the sternum. Inner line of the arms comes together. You're flying here, reaching right out through the fingertips, up and behind you. Enjoy the sense of moving, flying. And now we fly diagonally across the body. Feel like you're yawning through the arms, extra reach. Like you're a big bird flying over the ocean, way down into the waves. And now we dive as if we're swimming up stream, swimming up a waterfall, bursting up through the surface of the water. And we fold the forearms together, moving through eagle arms, nice circular feeling, leaving an inch or so of space between the fingertips, looking up at that space. Inhale, exhale to curl. And we fold the forearms together. Placing the palms together, bringing the feet a little closer together. We're going to do 5 HOH breaths, really pressing the palms together, pressing down through the feet, getting a feeling of gathering the energy in the core of the body as we exhale. So we get a little taller as we exhale. 5 times, really staying with the out breath, the whole. So you're really empty of breath, ready for a new breath, a new pattern, a new thought. And go. Then spiraling the pinky fingers forward. Passive inhalation, letting the body come back into its natural breathing, feeling the breath flow in through the mouth and nose, through the palms of the hands, through the skin. Yes, we're doing a lot of breathing. If at any time you start to feel lightheaded, just scale it back. Get calm again, and then you can join the movement. The next movement that we're going to do is spiraling. And a seashell is a perfect example of a spiral. Still point at the moment is the source of the spiral. And so when we move in spirals, we can think of, if we think of a spiral like a spiral staircase, the first stair is the foundation and essential to that spiral to go up and around. So we think of moving up, and then we simply move back on one side, which takes us into a spiraling motion. Coming back, and we move up and around to spiral, and back to center, up and around to spiral, and back to center, up and around to spiral, and back to center. A few more of these, feeling that action. It's like walking, but slightly amplified. Spiraling, moving up and around the spine, up and around the spine, up and around. Find that first stair, up and around, and up and around. Taking the legs nice and wide, we're going to move into a side wave. What grounds us here is digging down through the heel and having the thumb on the inner line of the knee. So you're just going to tip from sitting bone to sitting bone. You feel that press down through the heel, down through the heel, down through the heel. Sorry, down through the heel, 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 down through the heel. There we go. Now, again, connecting to that sense of the inner line of the sits bones, we start just a little wave pattern through the side, small wave, not moving very far, finding that inner connection between the sits bones. And let's move our awareness up to the level of the belly button, the top of the pelvis, moving a little further to the side, up to the level of the solar plexus, moving a little more into the side ribs. And then up to the heart center, that space between the shoulder blades, up toward, through the armpit area, up toward the top of the bell curve of the ribs. Up along the sides of the neck, keeping the chin slightly tucked, out through those inner chambers of the ears, and then right through the top of the head. As if you're a piece of seaweed, just being carried on the currents of the water. Nice, easy side wave. Feeling those side curves through the ribs. Coming up through center, you're going to do bow and arrow arms. This hand reaches up through the ribs as if you're opening your gills. The other one reaches, looking along that hand. Half circle across the chest and reach open. Bow and arrow arms. Drawing one hand up the side ribs, opening the ribs. And we'll do this again. Now we reach up and over the top. Up and over the top. The palm is facing up, over the top, and over the top. And we're going to press through the sitting bone and up through the palm of the hand. And right up through the top of the hand. And press down through the sitting bone, up through the palm, and up. And now we're using this hand to pull upwards. And then using this lower hand to give yourself a little extra pull, reaching across to the diagonal, vertical, and reaching across, looking out through that space you create, and reach across, and reach up, and across, folding the hands together, palms facing out, a little curl, and curl, and curl, and curl, and release. Coming down the center, and we're just going to circle around the lower part of the body. pelvis and lower part of the ribs. Going the other way, circling and circling and circling and circling. And the upper part of the body, very light, very little effort. Lifting your sternum as if you have eyes on your sternum. And the other direction, lifting the sternum. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, and exhaling. And now we do a forward wave. Again, we're thinking of drawing the heels back, combing the thighs back into the body. Ocean breath. Coming back into balance through the breath. Good. And we'll move forward, bringing the elbows around to the front of the body. And then lifting the heart. You can have your hands on whatever you're sitting on, or on the back of the pelvis, or folded behind you to lift the heart. And just staying there a moment. And once again, curling forward. And then lifting the sternum, lifting the eyes, lifting the heart. And coming up to center. Good. We're going to do a little bit of rag work. And if anyone has a question, I will be very pleased to try and answer whatever it might be. So we're going to extend it long. You can see my right heels and toes. Standing the leg long, then resting down the top of the thigh. And like you're kneading the muscle along, extending the back of the leg long and long. And with the pointed foot, we're going to bend over. Moving out the front of the leg, extending to the back, and up and over, and over. Opening the legs wide, opening the inner line of the leg, moving right through the middle, and opening, opening, up and over, brush, opening the inner line of the legs, and brush, and brush. Good. We're going to rock back. Exhaling, rocking back, bending the knee, and rock, and rocking back, finding harmony between the torso and the leg in this action. Then we're going to curl, moving back, stretching out, moving a little energy out through the knee, and a nice big curl through the kidney area. Exhaling. Other side. You can continue with that, or you can press midway up the calf, pressing the thigh slightly across the center line, or you can bring the hand up to the heel, giving the shoulder drop. Exhaling. Other side. Exhaling until you arrive. Once again. And exhale. And exhale. And then just folding the knee into the chest. Exhaling. Other side. Exhaling. Exhaling. And we'll do a little extension of the leg. You can do this on the ground or lifted. Exhaling. The fingertips are just below the knee joints. With a pointed foot. And we'll do 8 leg circles, exhaling as you extend the legs, keeping the toes on the floor or lifting them up a little bit for more challenge. Exhaling. Other way. Sitting up. And we'll repeat that, curling forward, and lifting the heart, hands on whatever you're sitting on the back of the pelvis, or clasped behind you. Folding the elbows forward, lifting the heart. Folding the elbows forward. And to finish, we'll do what is called a restorative breath. We're aiming to come, backs of the hands are together, we're aiming to come up with one inhalation and then open with one exhalation. If that's not doable, that's perfectly fine. Breathe as you need to. The idea is to have one breath cycle with each movement. So backs of the hands are together, feeling the feet on the ground, drawing the breath right up from underneath the feet and through the tips of the fingers, coming up. Opening wide, lifting your heart, feeling the full volume of the body, the whole dimensionality of you. Breathing in. Bringing the backs of the hands together, reaching down, sending the weight down as you fill the body up with breath. And one more time. Opening wide. And let's bring the hands together. Bring the feet in. Feeling the feet on the floor. And just opening the hands at the side. So it's like a seated version of mountain pose, where we really connect the legs through the torso. We connect our awareness of the front, back, and sides of the body. We take a moment to let those pathways and patterns of arches and circles and arcs and figure eights resonate in the body. Integrating breath, vision, and motion really helps us to stay in a sense of balance, a sense of our presence, a sense of our potential. And these are things we can take from our movement practice into our everyday lives. We'll close our practice there. I thank you for joining me for this movement for senior artists today. if you have questions, I'm very pleased to stay and speak with you. Thank you.
Whew. Who knew you could work up a sweat sitting in one position? Carol, thank you so much.
I know, that's the thing. You can.
Yeah, obviously. I am proof of that. Anybody have any questions for Carol? You can put them in the chat if you wish. I don't see any. Carol, I think we have
Oh,
it covered. Lots of thank yous. Many thank yous.
you're very welcome. It's my pleasure. Always my pleasure, my lifelong pleasure to move with people.
And I know that. Thank you, Carol. This has been great. So thank you, Carol Anderson, obviously. Thank you to our sponsor, TELUS. And most of all, thank you for being here today. We're going to be posting a video of this webinar on our website, probably early next week, so you can watch it again, follow along with Carol. And just to let you know, we've got a couple more webinars in the works. One is going to be on artificial intelligence, how to use it, how to protect against it. And another one is Canada Council 101, how to write a Canada Council grant. And as you probably know, all of our webinars, public relations, art and neuroscience, preserving the mind, copyright, social media, everything we have presented is available on our website at www.canartnet.ca. So until we meet again, take care, be well, and have a creative day.